How does the SDA Church influence politics? By Daniel Cease. What is the SDA Church? The SDA Church is a religion in which several people with similar beliefs congregate and worship. The SDA Church is a Protestant Christian denomination that worships on Saturday. Although it is a religious organization, it has involved itself in politics and affects the policy-making process. This makes the SDA Church similar to an interest group. First, let's define an interest group. An interest group would be an organization of people who would influence policy for a specific purpose. What does an interest group do? Now that we know what an interest group is, what do they do? Interest groups want to influence policy and politics, so they would affect voters. One way they affect voters is that interest groups encourage others to vote, hopefully for candidates that support the initiatives of the interest group. In addition to that, interest groups can endorse candidates. They can say that if you support this interest group, vote for said candidate. To encourage voters to vote in a specific way, interest groups mobilize membership through platforms such as social media, phone, or email. Interest groups influence voters to vote for candidates that are in line with the interest group's ideals. Another way interest groups influence voters is by educating them on what they stand for and why they should side with the interest group. In addition to this, interest groups may educate office holders by getting experts to explain the benefits of the policies that they advocate for, and explain that their constituents support the policies that the interest group stands for. Lastly, interest groups can lobby, which is influencing politicians to create policies for the interest group through means such as fundraising for candidates. SDA Church mobilize voters. While researching, many political ideas were available on the SDA website. It states that Adventists should take civic responsibilities seriously. We should participate in the voting process available to us when it is possible to do so in good conscience, and should share the responsibility of building our communities. Adventists should not, however, become preoccupied with politics or utilize the pulpit or our publications to advance political theories. SDA Church endorse candidates. This next source is not from the SDA website, but is from a pastor answering a question on does the SDA Church endorse candidates? In short, the SDA Church advocates some ideas, such as religious liberty and separation of church and state. The pastor also adds that when church and state unite, history shows that the result is liberty of conscience and persecution, so it is best that the church should not advocate any particular candidate. SDA Church mobilize membership. As said before, the church states that it is the members' duty to vote and encourage voting on their website. When they mobilize voters, they don't mobilize voters to vote for a specific candidate. In addition to a website, the SDA Church also has other platforms, such as radio and social media, but they are not used to push a political agenda and usually does not discuss politics. SDA Church educate voters and office holders. Once again, taking a look at the SDA website shows that the SDA Church educates voters. It states that Adventists have joined with other religious and secular organizations to exert influence over civil liberty. In addition to this, Ellen White, through her writings and her example, helped early Adventists develop a balanced, careful approach, which affirmed that church members could, in good conscience, vote in elections and even advocate enthusiastically for issues of public policy while maintaining careful guards on their independence and integrity. SDA Church lobby. Looking again at the SDA website, it states that similarly, many of the great reformers stood before the rulers of their day to advocate their position. We would therefore be remiss if we were not to endeavor to represent Christ to the leaders of this world in our current times. Indeed, Adventists are called to be a voice of liberty of conscience to this world. Integral to this mission is the development of relationships with temporal rulers. In order to do this, the Seventh-day Adventist Church appoints representatives to governments and international bodies that have influence over the protection of religious liberty. This would This work must be viewed as essential to our gospel mission and should be accorded the resources necessary to ensure our representation is of the highest order. In conclusion, the SDA Church supports lobbying, uses biblical examples as proof, and frowns upon not representing Christ to politicians. How much does the SDA Church spend on lobbying? To answer this question, let's look at opensecrets.org. As we can see here, in 2003, the SDA Church only spent $40,000 in the second half of the year. In 2004, the SDA Church started spending on the first half of the year with 40,000 and the second half of the year with another 40,000. After this 2004 year, the amount of money used for lobbying steadily decreases. In 2005, the first half of the year, $40,000 spent on lobbying, while in the second half, $34,025 spent on lobbying. In 2006, the first half of the year, $34,025 spent on lobbying, and $34,205 is spent on the second half for lobbying. And the number of lobbyists that the Seventh-day Adventist Church has is only one lobbyist. Closing thoughts. All in all, it was quite difficult to find what the SDA Church as a whole believes in and does to influence politics other than the SDA website. This fact also supports the idea that the SDA Church advocates for the idea that the church should be separated from the state. Also, it was difficult to find what the church believes and advocates as a whole because the SDA Church believes that members are entitled to vote and advocate for whatever candidate that they want. Thank you for listening.